Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Om Ganganapate Namaha. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha. Guru Deva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sarvamangala Mangalde Shive Sarvartha Sadike. Sharanye Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samstita. Namaste Se, Namaste Se, Namaste Se, Namo Namaha. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam. Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamam Mrutat. Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundaye Viche. Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Shri Paramagurubhyo Namaha. Namah Shivaya. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 18th of November, 2024. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and to Bhagavan, Paramatma, residing in the heart of every being. We are continuing to examine key concepts, foundational concepts in Vedanta, in Advaita Vedanta particularly. And we are continuing today further to review and to understand the Pratibhasika Satyam idea. Just a quick reminder that the Pratibhasika Satyam is a Vedantic concept that refers to apparent reality or subjective reality. It is distinct from the Vyavarika Satyam or empirical transactional reality and the Paramarthika Satyam. To understand Pratibhasika Satyam, there are analogies and examples that we have been looking at. The term actually is rooted in the Satyam Traya concept that is in Shankaracharyaji's philosophical framework. All right, so this concept is traced back to the early Vedantic terminology used in the Upanishads, where Maya and Avidya are used. These words like Maya and Avidya are used in the Upanishads. Why are they used? Because that is a way that the rishis are able to discuss the misperception, the concept of misperception, that we are not perceiving what is actually so, but some other kind of reflection is what we are seeing. This is the idea of Pratibhasika. So Shankaracharyaji's Advaita Vedanta emphasized this point. And then there's examples that are given that we can understand, like dreams or illusions, which are real to the perceiver but are not real in the ultimate sense. They don't have actual reality as such. So what are the examples? The famous rope and snake analogy, right? The rope and snake analogy. Imagine walking in a dimly lit room where you see a snake on the floor and feel frightened. Upon closer examination, you realize it was only a rope. That's one analogy. Very, very easy to understand. Dream analogy. We talked about this also. In a dream, you might experience flying or meeting someone. These events feel real during the dream but vanish upon waking up. That's a dream analogy. Mirage in the desert analogy. A thirsty traveler sees water in the desert due to a mirage. The water appears real to the traveler but does not exist upon any closer examination. That's the third analogy, right? Now, the fourth analogy is a shadow analogy. A child might fear their own existence, being it to be a ghost. The shadow has no independent existence, but appears to be real in the child's perception. So those are four examples there. There's a modern day analogy of the virtual reality. When immersed in a virtual reality simulation, the user experiences a virtual world that feels real. They may interact, they might react emotionally to events within it, even though they intellectually know it's artificial. That's a virtual reality example. So the idea here is that Maya is a cosmic illusion that veils the true nature of Brahman, giving a rise to the appearance of the universe, which is the Vyavarika Satyam. Within this, avidya or individual ignorance generates subjective misperceptions leading to Pratibhasika Satyam. So this is properly explained here in these notes that I have, that where does the Pratibhasika Satyam come from? it is generated subjectively within the Vyavarika Satyam. So the appearance of the universe that we see, the physical universe, that is coming out of Maya, the cosmic illusion. And out of avidya, because of not seeing the reality as it is, the subjective misperceptions are created, leading to Pratibhasika Satyam. So Pratibhasika Satyam is thus a subset of Maya, where individual subjective realities emerge due to limited understanding or misperception of the ultimate reality. So our individualized reality that is psychological and that is in our mind and that we project during the dreams and all that is due to a limited realization, limited perception of reality, not the actual full reality. Now, for example, a person identified with their ego as the ultimate self, the ahankar, lives in pratibhasika satyam, mistaking the ego for their true nature. And this is our big problem in humanity right there. This is what happens. That the ahankar is so much part of our life, part of a human being's life, that is mistaken, that's who I am. That I'm functioning through that only, and that's the way it goes. But that is the whole expression of Maya. So to recognize this misidentification through spiritual practices leads to transcending both Pratibhasika Satyam and Vyavarika Satyam. It leads to transcending both of those, ultimately revealing Paramarthika Satyam. This is the whole idea here. So this statement here, take a look at that, please. It's right on the screen here. Those who are listening in audio, I'll repeat it for you. That is, it's a recognition of the misidentification through spiritual practices, the different spiritual practices, Gnan, Vairagya, Vivek, Sham, Dam, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan, Shat Sampati, Bhakti, everything. All spiritual practices that are done, which is sadhana. Why we're doing it? So we go beyond the Pratibhasika Satyam and Vyavarika Satyam, both of them. Right? Now, the revelation of what is actually the reality is going to appear because of doing the sadhanas and going beyond the reflected reality and the transactional reality. Now, it's very, very interesting. We are trying to certainly grasp these ideas. They are sometimes very difficult to understand. But again, through analogies, through vivek and vairagya and vichar, we can begin to see the truth of this. So Pratibhasika Satyam has significant implications for understanding spiritual growth and self-realization. Right? So analogies can illustrate the role of subjective realities as stepping stones towards ultimate knowledge. These analogies are good. Like mirror reflects various images, but the reflections do not affect the mirror itself. So in Pratibhasika Satyam, the reflections are like subjective realities, temporary and dependent on the viewer's perspective. Isn't that so? That when we're sitting on standing in front of the mirror, we see that reflection, but that reflection isn't me. That reflection is because of me, right? So Paramarthika Satyam, the mirror, like Brahman, remains unchanged and unaffected regardless of what is reflected. Right? So the mirror is as it is. The Brahman is as it is. It is eternally present. Now, clouds covering the sun. Clouds may temporarily obscure the sun, but the sun remains untouched and ever present. So what is Pratibhasika Satyam? The clouds represent the illusions and misperceptions caused by individual ignorance. The sun represents the Brahman, whose light illuminates all perceptions, even the illusory ones, right? So there are several analogies here of the mirror and of the clouds. There are two other analogies here to understand this point. Now, moving further, philosophical implications, epistemological importance, meaning from knowledge point of view. Pratibhasika Satyam highlights the role of subjective perception in constructing reality. Pratibhasika Satyam highlights the role of subjective perception in constructing reality. Understanding it helps refine pramana, meaning means of knowledge, to distinguish valid knowledge from illusion. Right? So, in our brain, in our mind, we have the knowledge of this external world as it is. But the subjective perception perception in constructing reality is actually transformed when we are able to recognize that the knowledge that we have of this external world through the senses is an illusory, very limited type of knowledge. So the praman is not full. The actual reality is at a much different level, much higher level. So that's why meditation and spiritual inquiry is necessary. So by observing the mind's tendencies to create illusory realities, pratibhasik, one can discern the deeper layers of empirical and ultimate truth. So the opening of the reality, now one of the practices is called the neti practice. In Vedanta, the practice is called not this, helps disregard pratibhasika illusions and vivarika identifications to uncover paramarthika satyam. Or so we'll talk about that in just a second here. And then there's implications in modern psychology and neuroscience. The concept aligns with findings in neuroscience about subjective realities created by the brain. For example, visual or auditory illusions are akin to pratibhasika satyam, shaped by the brain's interpretation rather than objective truth. There's a lot of other applications here which we will talk about. Just 2-3 points quickly mentioned here. What is the therapy use? Understanding how subjective realities affect mental health can guide intervention in psychotherapy. Cognitive distortions and maladaptive beliefs are examples of pratibhasika satyam that clients mistake for empirical truths. Now, what are the scientific concepts? Virtual simulations, augmented reality, and even shared delusions in social contexts resemble the creation of pratibhasika satyam. Investigating these phenomena offers parallel to the Vedantic understanding of subjective misperception. Now, with all of this, what is the personal growth? Recognizing personal illusions, fears, insecurities as pratibhasika satyam empowers individuals to question their validity, ultimately leading to greater clarity and alignment with higher truths. What is the conclusion here? That the pratibhasika satyam underscores transient and subjective nature of perceived realities, offering a profound insight into the workings of the mind and ultimate quest for truth. Through analogies, historical development, and practical implications, it serves as a pivotal concept in Advaita Vedanta, guiding seekers towards realization that their oneness with Brahman, the Paramarthika Satyam. So that's a nice overview of the entire concept in itself. Just a few more comments, then we'll stop. That look, this requires some time to really internalize. In our day-to-day experience, we have the people around us, we have objects, we have experiences of all kinds. But to awaken out of pratibhasika satyam is no simple task, because we are reacting constantly at that reflected level. Constantly there's reaction. Like every second there is reaction. For example, if you're going for a walk in a park, we see a person with a dog, we see a fat person, a young person, we see a tree, we see a cloud, we see the path ahead of us. All of this thing, we are reacting to this. There's a reaction. I like this, I don't like this, I feel good about this, I don't feel good about it. All of these reactions are reflections. If one is in the Brahmic consciousness, none of those reactions would be there. Even though the experience is there, you still see the names and forms. The internal mind is absolutely still. Purana sthirta, mansik sthirta, koi rag, dvesh, aham, mamatva, pulling of the vrittis back and forth. No, that would not be there at all. It is a living samadhi. It is an open-eyed samadhi in Paramarthika Satyam. So Paramarthika means the highest truth is, one is seeing only the highest truth. It's like you go into the jewelry shop and you see only gold and not the ornaments. You see the ornaments are there, but you're interested in the gold. It doesn't matter what the shape of the ornaments are. You're saying, tell me about the value of the carats of the gold, and how I don't care anything about the forms. You could have blocks of gold or tiny little rings or tiny little earrings or bracelets or necklaces and thousands of forms, even the forms of the different deities might be there. There could be a golden Ganesha, golden Shiva, there could be a golden necklace, bracelet. What is the reality? Only gold. You see, so in pure Advaita Vedanta, even all of the gods and goddesses and all the Jivatmas and Ishvaras, it is only Brahman. Nothing other than that. So if you go to the gold shop, the jewelry shop or the gold shop has let's say it has 1 million different forms. Akar, 1 million akar hai, of the different ornaments. And you can get a person who doesn't know that it's all gold is fascinated by the form. I like this one, I don't like this one. I like this one, I don't like this one. This is nice, this is good. This is this is that. But one who has only vision for the gold is, I don't care what form it is. There's only gold there. I'm interested in the gold. You give me the gold in any form, I'm happy. The store owner says, I'm going to give you 1,000 pounds of all of these different ornaments. He says, koi baat nahi. But the other person who says, no, I don't want this one, I like this one, I don't want this one, they only give me this one, he's stuck in rag, dvesh, aham, mamatva. This is the glory of Advaita Vedanta. When we are in the pure Advaitic state, kuch bhi hota hai, iska koi relevance hi nahi hai. Kya relevance hai? How much relevance does a necklace have compared to the gold? Say, I'm so interested. I like the necklace, but I don't know what is gold. Then kitna agnyan hai? That is maha agnyan. Maha agnani, that is avidya. That is pratibhasika satyam. You see how easy to understand this point. But who says, no, you can give me these ornaments in any which way. I'm going to melt them all down anyway and just am interested in the gold. That melting down of the ornaments, that is paramarthika satyam. And it's not that the gold has become something else. That the ornaments gold is not different from the melted gold. The gold is the same. It's exactly the same. It isn't anything different. You see, so when Sachin goes for a walk in the park, there's no Sachin, there's no walk in the park, and there's no world also. But it is relatively there. That's what's interesting. Vyavarika, it is there. Like so I can go into the goldsmith's gold shop and say, yeah, that's a necklace. I can say that there's a necklace. I can say there's a bracelet, or I can say there's a I think in Marathi it's called kada or something. My mother used to buy those before. Kada. That's called kada or something. It's basically a thick gold. 24 karat ring that you're putting on your, it's not a ring, but it's like a bracelet on your, I never bought any of these things ever in my life, nor would I actually, but others have in my family, right? So that thing is like, that you are buying that thing, but remember what it is. It's only gold, but it's taken a form. It's taken a shape. It's been shaped into a particular form. This is Advaita Vedanta. That the entire Brahmand, all the Jivatma and all the different differentiation that we see, it is nothing but Brahman. This is Advaita Vedanta. Non-dualistic. Swami Chinmayanand Ji talked a lot about this. Ramakrishna Paramahansa talked about this. Vivekananda Swami talked a lot about this. Aurobindo has talked a lot. His amazing books are there. A great saint. When you awaken out of Pratibhasika Satyam, उसमें जो आनंद है, it is beyond imagination. And if you look at the entire Bhagavad Gita from the Advaita point of view, it is all about awakening out of this. Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, and the Brahma Sutras. The Prasthantraya is just to wake up. But Shankaracharya Ji says you will not be able to wake up like that. You're mesmerized. So go through the sadhana. Sadhan Chatushtaya. We'll get to all those urmis and all those things we were talking about, those obstacles. We get to all that. It's amazing. But it's actually quite simple. It's actually quite simple. When we go for a walk in nature, itni hi baat hai. Go to the temple, go to the walk, sab distinction nikal jata hai. There is no difference between going into a temple, into a church, into a mosque, into a war zone, or going into the park or staying at home. Koi distinction hi nahi rehta. Because in the higher realization, it is all a reflection. That reflection has no consequence. All of it. And this is the danger, one of the dangers in Advaita Vedanta. इसमें ये होता है कि भक्ति भी खलास हो जाती है. ऐसा नहीं करना. Don't do that. This is where Ramanujacharya and others have said, Bhagwan Swaminarayan, yes, this is true. This Brahman and this is ये सब सत्य है. Garada Madhya 30 also explains this. But Parabrahman is still another higher तत्व. उनकी भक्ति निरंतर करनी चाहिए. इतनी ही बात है. बहुत सीधी बात है. It is a matter of anubhav. How to practice this? Let me just give you two more points, and we'll stop. How to practice this? Simply go for a walk, for a half an hour walk in a beautiful park, and consider that everything there is just a wave on the ocean. It is the Brahman playing as these forms. It is the one. Now you can say from a devotional point of view, my Krishna, my Rama, my Shiva is in these forms. That's the easier way. The Brahman concept is more abstract. It's difficult to understand that one. When we do bhakti, ke hamare ghar mein jo Bhagwan ki murti hai, but everybody has murti of God, Ganesh ji, Shiv ji, Devi, Parvati, something is there, right? Some jo bhi ishta hai, unko hi dekhna ke it is only that tattva, that Paramatma that is present here in all of these. We can say it is in all of those objects, but you can go further to say it is those objects. But be clear, it is not that the Paramatma has degraded into the objects. It's not a degradation. It is just another form of the same Shakti that has taken that form. You cannot say that the gold is degraded into the locket. That gold has degraded into the ring. Gold is not degraded. Gold is only gold. It is just in a different form only. You see, this is called Paramarthika Satyam, pure Advaita Vedanta. It's a lot of fun, folks. We'll continue on this further tomorrow. Om Dhyanamulam Guror Murti, Mantramulam Guror Vakyam, Pujamulam Guror Padam, Mokshamulam Guror Krupa, Tameva Mata Chapita, Tameva Bandusha Saka, Tameva Vidya Dravinam, Tameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Rim Swaha Shri Radha Krishna Arpanamastu.